Uh, I'm going to give you a brief description of the Brazilian business environment, and especially in regards to the misuses of law and power. First of all, my name is Paulo. I am an undergraduate student of economic sciences at Mackenzie Presbyterian University here in São Paulo, Brazil. I'm currently in the last year of my graduation, so by the end of the year, I'm going to be graduated. So, uh, as this topic is very complex, the business environment, I'm going to give you a brief summary specifically about legal and judicial systems here in Brazil. So just to start, a quotation from Pedro Malan, the ex-president of our central bank. He said that in Brazil, even the past is unpredictable. So later in this presentation, you'll understand why he says this. Brazil is notorious for its business and political environments with chaotic laws, legal procedures, and also arbitrariness from the government in all its spheres. Why are these topics relevant, and what are its impacts regarding the country's growth and the social well-being of the population? Just some basic theoretical framework. I don't know how many of you are familiar with institutional economics and also public choice theory. So I'm going to give you a brief summary of these two approaches. First of all, institutional economics says that institutions and legal frameworks exist to reduce costs of transaction and general perceived risk. Costs of transaction are extra expenses that are incurred when you realize or when you fulfill a transaction or a contract. And risk is the perceived risk from the people involved in the transaction of this transaction or contract not being able to be fulfilled. So the theory also says that institutions evolve guided by efficiency and optimization of operations. And also that businesses in general, they require a reliable and solid institutional framework in order to exist. And public choice theory postulates that public agents prioritize their own interests when passing laws, conducting trials, and making public policies in general. For instance, in the lobbying of lawmakers, and also when politicians use influence in the state apparatus for personal gain. So these two concepts, institutional economics and public choice theory, they are in some way inconsistent with each other because what we see is that laws and public institutions, they not necessarily are a means to reduce costs of transaction and reduce the perceived risk. If they are used for the public agents' own interests, they end up increasing costs of transaction and also increase the perceived risk from the population. So in reality, we should see all kind of institutional developments and public actions from the government. Some as being defined as good in general, bad, or seemingly arbitrary. I'm going to give you two examples in Brazilian politics where we can analyze the situations using these theoretical framework. The Mensa scandal, I don't know how many of you are familiar with this. It was about corruption in the Brazilian Congress. So the Mensa was a corruption scheme put together by the ruling party at the time, 2005, under President Lula, who allegedly knew about the scandal within his party. He was the president of the country and also the president of this party in which the corruption scheme was discovered. Basically, the ruling party paid congressmen from the opposition a monthly allowance in order for them to vote in favor of the party's projects and laws in Congress. Seeing it in terms of institutional economics, we can see that, first of all, there is a Congress. This is good, basically. The Congress elaborates and approves federal laws. The Congress supervises the acting of the federal government. And also, it ends up providing institutional stability, as in the separation of powers from Montesquieu. So this is the good part. Now, when it comes to public choice theory, we can see that congressmen are acting, prioritizing their personal gains. And they can also attend, besides their regular activities, they can attend to political agendas, such as the Workers' Party in this corruption scheme, or specific groups' interests, what we know as lobbying. The second scandal was Lula's imprisonment. As I told you, Lula was the president during this corruption scheme. He was able to finish his office, and in 2010, and after some years, he was convicted for passive corruption and money laundering in 2017. He was sentenced to 9 years in a first instance court. The first instance court, for those you, and I apologize if I commit any imprecisions, because I'm an economist, so I'm out of my jurisdiction when talking about law. So he was sentenced in a first instance court. Later, 6 months later, he was also convicted in the second instance court. So he recurred to the second instance to make another judgment, another trial, and he had his sentence increased, and he was arrested later that year. 1.5 years later, the Supreme Court forbade prisons from second instance court trials. So this rendered the ex-president free from the prison. And I was going to talk about two absolutely different cases, but because of this last topic, I ended up talking about the Mensa law and Lula's imprisonment, because last Friday, his sentence was annulled. He was annulled of the former convictions, and now he's eligible for the next presidential election. So, not making judgments of value, I'm not saying if he's innocent or not, but I'm putting in question how this affects the country's economic performance, whether or not people will actually stay in Brazil or leave. If you're a foreigner, it's very it's a sign or a red flag for you to leave the country. So some thought-provoking questions. The first of all, cui bono, it's a Latin expression that basically means who benefits. So I ask you, who benefits from a seemingly arbitrary decision or a seemingly perverted law created by the government? Business implications. Should I even start a business in an unstable environment and be subject to arbitrary politics and arbitrary actions from the government? Or should I not even bother to do it? Some social implications. Can we even trust the legal and judicial systems that we see in practice? And in the long road, where do we go from here, and how can we improve our countries? So I'm not proposing some silver bullet to solve this issue in Brazil, but I'm inviting you all to think about these next time you read the news regarding your countries. These are my references, and thank you. I'm open to questions in the question section.